a touch of crack. Come, let's dance to the reggae rock.
So this video is going to be a little bit about what I've learned so far running my small, I would say, excavation and landscaping business for the past two to 3 years. And just some little tips and hints I have, just the basic stuff. And I'm going to have some different videos. I'm just kind of making a bunch today about certain sections of the business. I'll go over some, just specific stuff like just equipment, running equipment. How much does that cost? Or let's say, a gravel delivery. And then slowly I'll go into deeper stuff as I have more time. But this is just like a basics of what to know, what to do if you're a young guy or just a guy starting out, or even a young lady starting out and you want to get into excavation or landscaping. I'm not here to brag. I am not any great success. It's June 2025, and work is slowed down for a lot of us here in Atlanta, Georgia. All from equipment trailer rental guys that I used to rent from, and I still do rent from once in a while, but they're not renting out as much stuff because not as much guys are doing work. So yeah, like I said, I'm not here to sell you anything or tell you I'm some great contractor and I know everything and I'm here to solve your problems. No. Like I said, this is just my 3rd year, and I'm just giving advice to, 0-year, first-year guys. First recommendation, learn the rules and regulations of where you are, your state regulations and your county. I'm originally from the state of Hawaii. I'm native Hawaiian. But in Hawaii, you have to... I'm going to come back to this video, but I got to go do something for a second. Okay, false alarm. It was somebody else calling for somebody else. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. It was a neighbor or something. But back to what I was saying. Learn your rules and regulations. I'm originally from Hawaii. The rules are very similar to California. They're very strict as far as becoming a contractor, even a subcontractor. It's very strict. It's pretty much the same as becoming a GC, which is totally opposite here in Georgia. In Georgia, you pretty much can do whatever you want without a license, as long as you don't, mess up. As far as the business I'm in, as far as the excavation, land clearing, landscaping, if you're clearing more than an acre of land, you need to get a certification from Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission. And that gives you the right to clear more than 1 acre of land. And that also teaches you a bunch of really good stuff, just about soil and just soil dynamics, how to properly, contain runoff, really good stuff from the Georgia Soil Water Conservation Commission. So yeah, that's the process I had to do here in Georgia, was go ahead and get that license. It comes in handy when you're bidding. Right now, since it's a hard economy, guys are really looking to make as much profit as they can. When I say guys, I mean builders, general contractors, investment companies. So they're going with the cheapest guys. Which sets everything in out of whack. But back to what I was saying about your regulations and everything. Go ahead and make sure that what you're doing is not going to set you further back with some type of ticket or something, because I wasn't completely clear of that when I first started out and I was living in Hawaii, and I got a summons, a court case summons from the what is that, the RICO division, the racketeering division, because somebody reported me and said I was doing illegal contracting. In Hawaii, it's any job over 2,500, which I wasn't. I was just advertising as a licensed and insured landscaping business, and we did small construction. But that's another story. If you guys want to hear about that, let me know in the comments or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist. Got in trouble, realized, they said I had to, go get licensed. I tried to ask them the process. They told me I had to go and work for a general contractor for 4 years as a foreman. And I'm like, do you just expect me to just go and pop in somewhere and just become foreman and just, oh yeah, boop, 4 years? Doesn't work like that. And especially where I come from in Hawaii is a very small island, and there's not that many businesses. So guys stay at that job working for the same contractor or business for 40 years or so as the foreman. So if he's still working and he's let's say the foreman is 50, he doesn't really want to retire until he's probably 60, 65, because it's expensive in Hawaii. He probably might not even be able to retire till he's 70 or ever. So he's going to be the foreman or supervisor running it for the foreseeable future. So it doesn't work out in Hawaii for young men or even older guys to do it. So you got to find another way. And my other way was coming out here and becoming some type of licensed contractor. I was shooting for GC, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of investment. It's not too much of an investment as far as time, as far as like the dirt work business. It's not like buying a machine, a truck, or a trailer. It's a small investment, but it's a large investment of time and energy. So I didn't do that. And like I said, I went to the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission and got certified by them to do earthwork and stuff. So that's what I did, and it's been going good. I can't say it wasn't worth doing the move out here. It definitely was. I've learned a lot, and I've been through a few things that taught me some really good lessons. So yeah, first thing I got to bring up is learn your regulations. Learn my Hawaii accent. Learn your regulations in your area, your county, your state, your surrounding counties. Learn them, abide by them, because all it takes is the one wrong customer and the one wrong person in the county to just, take down your business. So definitely get licensed, get certified, be legitimate, You cannot be, but in the long run, it's really not any benefit to you to not be, because you're not tracking your taxes. You're not going to be able to buy a house someday because you have no tracked income, you have no legitimate business, and you have pretty much, you're giving yourself no future by not going legitimate. You're not giving yourself a legitimate future. Like I mentioned, a house, a real business. So go ahead and learn all your regulations, get your licenses. If you can't, like I couldn't, I made the move, and I'm here the furthest away I could be pretty much from Hawaii, doing my thing. I'm definitely blessed to be able to not have to pay a bunch of rent. I live with my girlfriend and her mother and brother. So that's why I'm able to not make so much money and just start out. Just as far as numbers, let's say my first year, I think I made anywhere from, which was last year, 2024, my small business brought in anywhere from around, I would say, 60,000 to maybe 75. It was kind of off because I wasn't getting paid from a contractor here in Atlanta, and had to go through filing all the stuff, the liens and everything, but it finally got settled. But it just kind of threw off the books because they didn't really pay me till this year. Pretty much a year, almost a year later, 8 months later. So yeah, that's my first advice, is the regulations. Talking about not getting paid. Start small. Don't put yourself up to a bunch of risk, and definitely don't do any jobs without a deposit. If you have to buy anything, you get a deposit. Even if it's a $50, $25 deposit, you get that deposit for that material. And what you really should be charging is if let's say this concrete sealer costs me $25. You should be charging the customer out $50 for that product. Other guys will say no, they don't know business. To add upon that statement, I have gone to college. I went to college to be an electrician, actually. And while I was in college, I took business and finance as well as economics. So that I can say, I know what I'm talking about. It's really 50% profit minimum. You can go down to 30%, but 30% is where you want to end your margin. Any lower, you're just scraping by. You're not making money. You're not helping your business. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping your family. And it's hard to make that margin in this economy. So, like I said, I'm blessed to not have to pay a bunch of rent. And I can live in just a room with my girlfriend and have my stuff here, the little bit that I do have, and be able to keep going until the economy gets better and I can start, really pulling in some more money, getting more equipment. So yeah, number one, learn your regulations and your licensing. Number two, don't take on too much risk. And that can even be with something like a dump trailer. I own a 14 by 7 foot dump trailer with 4 foot high walls. Like I said, I used to rent dump trailers. I rented a dump trailer. I probably paid that guy's payment for like 4 months in a month. That's how much I rented the trailer. And this was just last year. Stuff was kind of booming, and it's really slowed down around here for everybody. But back to what I was saying. I was giving this guy, like I said, maybe $800 a month. When a payment for my own trailer would only be $220 or $225 or something I pay right now. So after that 1 month of going to him and renting, he finally told me, bro, you should just get your own trailer. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, you're paying me. You pay me. And he ended up giving me some, like a $50 discount at the end of it. Really nice guy. Super thankful that he did rent to me and that he was honest with me. So I went ahead and got this trailer. So that's the only time you should really be purchasing stuff, is like that, where I'm paying more to rent it than own it. Right now, I don't pay for equipment. I rent equipment. I guess I do pay for it, but I don't own any equipment, so I'm not paying monthly. I don't have a payment, but I do rent. Let's say I was renting, multiple months, or had multiple months of work set up like I did for the dump trailer. Then I would go ahead and buy whatever I needed, an excavator, whatever, and put it on a loan and do payments on it. But until that rent outweighs a payment, you rent. And then as soon as it has a, highly likeliness that you're going to keep using this equipment at this rate, you go ahead and buy for yourself. So yeah, taking on too much risk. And then the third, regulations, I messed up, but the next thing you should definitely learn is definitely take a business class, learn about it, learn marketing, I am not the best marketer. That's my problem. I'm a dirt work guy. I'm great at running machines. I'm great at running the trucks. I'm not the greatest marketer, but that's what I need to learn. Phone shut off for a second, but I'm not the greatest marketer, but that's what I need to learn. So that's another thing I want to bring up, and then maybe that should be number one, is learn how to market. Learn your own market that you're in. Which kind of brings me around. I wasn't sure to say, that's why I brought that up. And maybe just the same importance as marketing is your pricing. You know what I mean? You need to get up to that step. You need to have your licensing good, your whatever good, before you even kind of start marketing. Because technically, by law, that can get you in trouble in some areas, is marketing without having the licensing. So yeah, definitely marketing and pricing. As far as pricing, just a little rundown on my pricing. Like I said, 50% margins is what you're trying to shoot for. If you're running something, let's say like just a gravel delivery, maybe add only, it depends on your area and, what rates you can charge. If you can get really good deals on gravel, then you can add 50% onto it, If you can't, then you can't, but at least add 10%, 12%, 15% onto whatever you're buying, whatever it be, gravel, sand, whatever type of delivery. If you're doing that, add a small margin on it. And then as far as your, you need to charge a rate for your delivery. So I do $5 per mile. If you're a return customer, I do $4, which is a 20% discount. And that starts after 10 miles. And I'll do 10 miles for 10 times 5 is 50. So after 10 miles, you know what I mean? If it's just a really short run, I only go 5 miles, it's still 50. It's not 25. 50 is the minimum. Some guys have it at 80. It's my area, so it's small, and somebody may be, like I said, only 5 miles away. So I keep it at that 50 because there's other guys who are at 80 and 100. Usually I'm at about, like today I did a delivery. It was a $200 delivery. 3 tons of gravel. Also, some places sell gravel in yards. Some places sell gravel by the ton. Like at the quarry, you're by the ton. And they still don't get it accurate. You know what I mean? You can tell them 3 tons. They might put 3.5. They might put 2.75. And then that's what you have to go deliver. So sometimes you have to be ready for the customer to say, hey, why does it look kind of... So this video is all pieced together. Sorry about that. I'm going to try and make it turn out as best as I can. This is one of my first YouTube videos ever, so take it easy on me. But yeah, back to pricing. Add about 10% onto the gravel. Charge your per mile rate that works for your area. I'm at $5 per mile. Fuel here. Guys who have double the capacity of me are at $10 per mile, and that's why I chose 5. Again, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. That's North Metro Atlanta, and there is cheaper guys and there is more expensive guys. So don't comment, blah blah blah. I know that's their price. You can go to McDonald's and get a burger for under $10. You can go downtown and get a burger for $55. You get it? You guys get it now? Sorry about that. It's just had a few customers. They just don't understand. They don't get the business license, the contractor, the taxes. They don't understand why I can't match match the other guy's price, who's $600 and I'm at $4,000. How come I can't match the price? Because I'm a legitimate business. I don't know how he's doing it for $600. Good luck. good luck with the compaction and everything of your foundation. Good luck. But as far as my machine rates, when I'm running machines, like right now, it's some hard times. So I've done some ones where I've underbid it, you know. And I didn't underbid it. It's just people were underbidding me, so I matched their price just to get it, and made zero profit. But sometimes you got to take what you can get. But as far as what I would like to be charging, or what I should be charging per day, is around $1,980 is what I charge per day for just me, a machine. No labor, no anything else, no other extras like an excavator, bulldozer. For things like bulldozers, I'm more around $2,500, $2,400 per day for the dozer. Small stuff like a really small excavator, like a U10, what are they? I don't know, smaller than the U17. I'd probably be around $1,500 a day. And then something for around the U17 size, probably more, 16, 17, 1800, depending on the profit you want to make. So pretty much, small machines, 1,500. Medium, you got around $2,000. That's for, let's say, your U35 Kubota, your, an E35 Bobcat, your 305, yeah, your 305-5 Caterpillars, those excavators. You're around that 2K range. And then you like I said, when you bump it up to the 15,000 pound machine area, that's when you start charging that 2,500. Because you have to. Those things are burning a lot of fuel. If you bought the insurance on it, or it's yours, it's a bunch of money. And those things are $100,000 minimum pieces of equipment. So you need to make your money. And the thing is, right now, is there's some guys around here that are selling their equipment, and they were my competition, and in my mind they were far ahead of me. But maybe it was the illusion of a lot of equipment and a lot of loans, but not making a lot of money, which I kind of have the opposite. I don't have a bunch of equipment, but at least I make enough money to be stable, and have money in my account sitting there. Another business, I guess, advice is at least have $10,000 in savings just for the business. That's not for yourself now. You should have $10,000 for yourself and your family saved as well, and you don't touch it. So that's 20 grand you should have sitting in 10 in each account. Or if you gotta move some money around and have cash, have it in cash. But have 20 grand saved. This is not a time to be running low, and if you have to go get a part-time job, go get a part-time job. But try and not touch that 20K. Like me, I don't have any children. If I had children, I would have 10K saved for myself. I only have 5. And that could change in an instant. You know what I mean? Something could go wrong and it could change in an instant. But it's better to have it than not have it. And then, you're in debt. You're out of work. You're a handful of not good things. So yeah, keep cautious of that. But like going back to what I was saying with pricing, those guys are going to price themselves out eventually, the low baller guys, because something's going to break on their truck, their machine, their trailer. God forbid, I don't wish anything bad upon people, but a mother and father, you know, your parents are old, they need some type of help. They're, you know, you get hurt yourself on the job. You can't be making no money and have no money saved. Like I said, you need to have 20 grand saved for your business and your family. So yeah, not every customer is your customer. Some customers, if you do a job for them really cheap, like this guy just did the, you know, like I said, I met the other person's price, which was literally less than half the price. I did it for $1,250 or $1,200 when it should have been at $2,700. And $2,700 was a fair price. It was a full day with an excavator, and I took a full dump trailer away, and I had a laborer. So like I said, that one was an underwater job, but it was just to make some money because times are hard right now. But if I kept doing that, I would eventually be spending, you know, I would be going broke doing that type of job, slowly but surely. And some guys are great at it, you know. They're great at it, you know. They're underground. They're not licensed contractors. They're on EBT and food stamps. They just to be real, you know, they're selling drugs. They're you know, they're doing other stuff that's shady to make it work out, which is, you know, they're scamming the customer. They're getting subpar material. They're giving them less material. They're not adding certain things like rebar in the concrete, you know. So that's my little spiel about pricing is sometimes you can match the price, and sometimes you can do what I did just to make some cash, you know what I mean, just to make some money, just to bring in some money for myself. No profit, you know what I mean. I'm not making the hourly I should be, but it's better than nothing. But like I said, you keep doing that, you're running yourself down. You're running your truck, you're running your machines, you're running your trailer. Eventually those things are going to need maintenance, like I said. And if you keep running your bank account low, then you're going to have no time, no money to cover yourself when the time comes that you have an emergency. And you're not going to have the time to go and make more money because your shit's broke. If you get what I'm saying. You can't get to the job site and work if your truck's not running good, you know. So a lot of businesses are shutting down right now. I think this will be the time, I guess, to you know, put our heads down and really concentrate on marketing and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my little thing. Don't educate yourself on your state and county regulations. Make sure your licensing is all good. Make sure you have insurance. Get your pricing down. Learn your area's pricing. Also learn your area, where to get materials in your surrounding counties. Here in Atlanta, Georgia, they have Site One Landscape Supply, and they're all over, and they're an amazing supplier. To be specific, you know, it's not the cheapest, but like I said, they're a great supplier. You pull up, they make things easy. You're in and out in minutes. Sometimes when you go to the quarry, you're down in that pit for half an hour, you know. Meanwhile, I could have just ran over here. Yeah, I paid $20 more, but I was in and out in 5 minutes. So pay attention to those things too, like time. Like I said, I did the quarry thing once, never again. Of course, if I had a big rig, you know, a tandem axle, triaxle, something holding a lot, yeah, I would go to the quarry. But I'm I'm just running, 5 tons, 10 tons, small amounts. So dealing with Site 1 is easy for me, and I prefer it. So yeah, look into your local suppliers, look where to get stuff, figure it out, learn the routes, learn the easiest routes for stuff. And then I guess going on to, did a little gravel overview, did a little machine overview. That's pretty much the gist of it. Sometimes you'll have a scope of work where you can, let's say, like I said, I'm specifically, I like doing dirt work, but sometimes concrete comes into the mix because I'm doing landscaping. That's when I hire a subcontractor. Same thing with the subcontractors. If you can pull off 50%, a 50% margin on your subcontractor's price, do it. If you can't, battery shut off for a second. If you can't make that 50% margin off your subcontractor's work, at minimum, make 10%. Make something. Don't do it for nothing. You know what I mean? The thing with pricing stuff out at 50% profit is when you get the 50% deposit, you can go and buy all your materials, have all your workers already paid for that job. You can have all your subcontractors already paid for. Not that you paid them, but you have the money to pay them once they're finished, and you can give them their 50% deposit with ease. So that's why I bring up the 50% margin, is when you start getting down to the numbers, it's a lot easier on your business to take that 50% deposit. All that money's gone, yes, but at least you're not negative compared to if you didn't get a 50% deposit that was priced at a 50% profit margin. You'd be in the negative until you get that final check. So that's the biggest thing I want to bring up, I guess, about pricing, is if you do not price at that 50% margin and you do not get a 50% deposit, you're going to run into the negative. And if you're first starting out, you can't run into the negative. There is no negative. You know what I mean? It's just zero and everything ends. So that's why I bring up pricing at 50%, at a 50% gross profit margin, is because that's fair. That's a fair price. People may not think it's fair, but that is inflation's fault. That's the government's fault. You know what I mean? That's not our fault. You know what I mean? That's not our fault things are expensive. We're just the messenger. You know what I mean? We just are here to build your stuff, and we need to make money. You know what I mean? You deserve a living wage. You do not deserve minimum wage. You do not deserve the same as the guy who works for somebody at somebody's landscape company. You deserve 2 times that amount, 3 times, maybe 4. As the business owner, as the guy with all the stress, the taxes, the trucks, the gas, you're the one taking all the risks. You deserve it. Like I said, you're not always going to be able to make that 50% starting out. But when you're first starting out, you need to at least shoot for it every single time. Because like I said, if you don't, you're going to run into the negative. And I've run into the negative. Not to say I haven't. I've ran to the negatives. And that's why I can tell you, don't do it. Because when your bank account is at, 0 or 300 or whatever, so they don't charge you whatever the fees for just keeping money in the bank, and you're at negative 3,000 on your credit cards, and your personal is all of them are maxed out, that's $5,000. You know what I mean? He really hits you. Don't fuck around. Excuse my language if any young listeners are listening, but it's serious. It's your life. It's your family's life. It's your future family's life. That is in your hands. So you need to act accordingly. So yeah, firm believer in 50% margins. If you can go over 50, go over 50. Nothing's wrong with that. You're not ripping off anybody. No one's getting ripped off. You're just getting higher pay. Same thing as somebody works at, let's say somebody works at Aldi's. You get paid this much checking out somebody. Somebody works at Publix. They get paid more checking out somebody. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, you know? So all I'm trying to say is you deserve more. You're not the Aldi's, you know what I mean? You're not the Aldi's. You're a fine, you know, small mom and pop shop, you know? And that's why we need to charge that. Because we're not Aldi's. So yeah, over a 50% margin, you're not ripping off anybody. You're just coming out better for yourself in the future. And if that person wants to pay for it and they have the funds for it, let them pay for your better future, your family's better future. And take pride in that. You're a good enough salesman. You're presentable. You have a good enough looking business, and you look good enough that somebody trusts you to give you that much money. Plus, you're making a big profit. So feel really good about it. Don't feel bad about it. You didn't rip anybody off. Pat yourself on the back. Take that check. Go to the bank. Go home. Then get back up and go to work and get that job done so you can get that second check. Then you can go out to eat or buy yourself something, or your girlfriend something. So yeah. This is a long video. Most of people won't watch it, but if you do, there was some good stuff in there. Went over that, margins, machine work, gravel deliveries. I guess I should specify, on a gravel driveway, try and make that 50% on your gravel delivery. Try and make that 50% profit. Again, if you can, 10 is the minimum. So yeah. Just trying to think of any other advice I have as far as, you know, for guys just starting out. Yeah. Oh, I guess equipment, and specifically trucks. I own a 2007 Ram 6.7 with a G56 6-speed manual transmission. It's the basic truck. It's not the Laramie. You know what I mean? Don't go out and get a King Ranch, even if it's used. Don't go out and get a brand new, 2022 Chevy with the L5P. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because if you run into a month where you have no work, you have no payments. In my case, I have no truck payment. All I have to do is pay for the trailer if I have no work. Something happens. I want to go on vacation. That's my only overhead, is that $200 a month trailer rental and my insurance. But that's pretty much prepaid for because I prepay it. So yeah, and that ties all back in to exactly what I was saying about the 50% margins and everything. You want to be able to go on vacation. You deserve a vacation. You deserve a 2-week vacation minimum. I don't know where everybody thought, I don't know, you got to work hard, but everybody worked 80 hours. Everybody worked 40 hours a week, 80 hours every 2 weeks. You guys worked for, let's say that, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, the industrial time in America where people had good jobs making cars, tires, brakes, stuff like that. Those people had vacations. Those people had weekends. Those people had paid off cars. So just because the economy's fucked doesn't mean you gotta be fucked too. Sorry, that was the Hawaii local boy coming out right there. But like I said, just because everything's going bad doesn't mean you have to continue with it too. Doesn't mean you have to follow everybody with the cheap prices. Doesn't mean you have to do anything. But yeah, you deserve a vacation. That's minimum the paid off cars. That's minimum a wife at home. That's minimum 2 kids. That's minimum the 2 paid off cars. That's a minimum that we should have as United States citizens, as Americans. Not all of this. I don't know what this is, but this went into a political stuff, but it does have to do with business. So yeah, price accordingly so you can go take a vacation, you know, so you can go to the Bahamas, so you can go to Australia, so you can go to Thailand, you know, so you can go to Hawaii for 2 weeks and enjoy life. And the only way that's going to happen is if you start pricing that 50% margin. Sorry, I'm just laughing because it's just like, you know, these guys start out in business and that's their dream, but then they're not making the margins, they're not doing the studying on numbers, they're not doing any of that, and then they wonder why they work more than the average guy and can't take a vacation and they're in debt. Your math's wrong, you know? Your numbers are wrong. So yeah, don't take on a bunch of debt. Don't go buy a machine. Don't go buy a brand new truck. Like I said, I got a 07 Ram. Buy something like that. You like Fords? Buy a Ford 7.3 from an old man that's been untouched, that has, you know, 200,000 miles. Excuse me. Something was coming up on my screen and shouldn't have touched it. Messing up the video. But yeah. And if you didn't see that portion, don't go buy that stuff until you can pay for it easily and it costs you less than if you were renting for that amount of time. So yeah, buy an old truck, buy a quality trailer, because you definitely don't want a trailer that doesn't lift whatever you put in the back. I'm gonna go over and walk to my trailer right now and take a little video of it for this in specific. But yeah, I went for a mid-quality trailer. It's a load trail, 14,000 pound axles, and it has 4-foot high walls. It's got the tarp and everything. The biggest part is this. I'll go ahead and show it in a second, but yeah. And like I said in the video, the only reason I bought the trailer is because I was renting and it was costing me 4 times as much as if I would have just bought it and paid a monthly payment on a loan. If you can buy stuff out all cash, buy it out all cash. I bought this truck all cash. Do it. Like I said, then you won't have a payment. You won't have that overhead. You won't have that worry if stuff goes bad. So yeah, I know I said I was going to keep it short, but this is not a short video. So yeah, I'm going to end it here. Everybody stay blessed, stay positive. Find yourself at least one good friend or partner to network with and bounce ideas, numbers, and stuff like that off. It's very helpful to have that. And if you have more than that, keep them around, because it's better to have a team than to be on your own. So yeah, that's my little business video. Tune back in again for some more videos. I'll be coming out with some stuff about my dump trailer, a little more, a review on that, and probably some more working videos or some other shorts. But yeah, all right. Everybody stay blessed. Aloha.
Now touch a crack. Come, let's dance to the reggae rock.